Okay, here it is. It's been a few years since I've reviewed the Boss ME8B. I've come across another one, and I just had to review it again. As always, I'm going to be playing this on a baritone guitar, which sounds a bit like this. Okay, so we're halfway between a normal guitar and a bass guitar. And the Boss ME8B will give you the kinds of distortions that will really make the floor shake and will terrify the weak-willed. Using the sub-octave effect, which is the second one in the effects chain right over here. Okay, it starts off with compressor enhancer, and there is a defretter simulator as well. Then you've got your octave effect. Very basic. You just set your octave level and your direct signal level and balance them out the way you want. Your distortion sections, Humanizer and Equalizer. Humanizer, of course, being a bit of a Boss favorite that we use sometimes. It sounds a bit like a phaser, but the either ends of your bandwidth basically correlate with a vowel out of the English alphabet. Okay, so then you've got synth bass, section 4, very interesting. And you can also trade in your synth bass for touch wah as well, also a great bass effect. Then you've got chorus flanges here, and your delay section there, several delays to choose from, and several reverbs to choose from as well. Now, pretty basic. There is one other very special thing about this. Pan you a little bit to the right, the control pedal. As you can hear, that in this particular instance, the control pedal is switching on a bit of bass synthesizer there. That's normal. And then control on. Okay, so let's go in and edit, and we'll choose to assign the control pedal something different from our little list, which is very conveniently and very legibly printed right here. Okay, there's about 20 different settings, I think. And I'll show you some of my favorites. Good old ring modulator, of course. Oh, I'm sorry, I've got it set to the wah setting. Okay, so you can use it manually as a wah pedal. And okay, there's a lot of chaos type opportunities with this pedal. And the intelligent ring modulator is a really interesting one because it'll give you a nice harmonic with whatever note you play. Even if it's chords. And of course, if you hit that control pedal, it'll just shoot it through the ceiling. Alright, so let's see what else we got. This one will give you a bit of slow attack. And there's several kind of whammy bar type directions that you can push in. This is a nice one. So if you're a bass player who wants to sort of do the Rage Against the Machine style, and you've got some options there. So various different combinations of pitch shifting there. Some of them leave your dry signal to run all the way through. Some of them cancel the dry signal and just do a completely wet pitch shift. This one's a vibrato. Number 6 can hold your synth tone. So if you've activated something from the synth bass, you can press your pedal down and it'll hold it, and that synth note will just play until you release your foot. That can be handy. 7 is tap tempo, and then all the ones in category number 8 will switch any of these effects on and off, okay? Very, very simple. You can also switch this pedal to a manual mode as well, so that you can just use it like a whole set of on-off pedals, one for each effect up here. Okay, so let's exit that right now and just listen to some of the presets that I've programmed. A really nice woolly, even tempered sort of fuzz there. And then something a bit raspier. Bit of a flanger crunch there. I don't know how bassy your speakers are there at home, but that one's got a really nice bassy attack to it. I'm kind of wishing I actually had the bass guitar plugged in right now, but on these low baritone strings, you can kind of get the idea of what I'm talking about. Alright, let's edit that one, see what comes up. Number 4, let's turn on the synth. I'm going to turn up the resonance right on the synth so you can fully hear it. Okay, and we've got our waveform. Okay. We can add some noise to it if you want it a bit raspier. And we can set our wet level and our dry level. So if you want the chord still to sound nice and, you know, like there is a kind of a chord sound, power chord sound coming through, that's fine, because often when you're using synth bass, if you play chords, the synth gets a little bit confused because it just plays one note at a time. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing. If you like a little bit of chaos in your music, that can be really, really good. Works well with the distortion. Change the decay setting. That's a very slow decay. To a very fast, slappy sort of decay. And let's turn on the sub-octave. And it changes the character. Okay. What else have we got here? Let's. Oh, the resonance is up way too high on the flanger. That's better. Alright, let's get out of this and go back to our distortions. So we got turbo overdrive. Let's add a bit of drive to that. bass overdrive. Now that equalizer is very kind of harsh there, so I'm just going to pull back on the treble a little bit. See how quickly it is with these directional keys. Incidentally, I love key presses, and having had a bit of experience, I'd really rather not have knobs on the front, and so that's one thing I love about the ME8B, and that is just being able to dial in my values. This way, none of my cables or anything can slip over and adjust all the knobs accidentally, or break them, worse still. And I can chuck it into a backpack or a bag, no problem at all. You know, everything's flat, nothing can break. It's really a rock solid machine. And then we get into heavy distortion. Amp simulator, off, on. Sometimes it sounds better with it off. And fuzz. Add some treble to that. Maybe switch our compressor on. Okay, what other distortions? Heavy fuzz. Often sounds better without the compressor, that one. Yeah. Okay, let's take that flanger away too. We'll just leave it on chorus. So you can see how quickly, just with a few quick pushes of buttons, a few offs-ons, changing a few settings, we've gone from something that was fairly limp to a full-on powerful distortion. It's a bit unlike anything I've ever heard. So much bass. Yeah, a lot of power in that. What else can I tell you about? Oh, let's try the Humanizer. It's a bit crazy. Let's make it talk. Yeah. This can be used to sound like a phaser, or you can use it to sound kind of like an auto wah. Which can be really effective. And you can change the speed. You can also enhance your synth sound as well. Oi, oi, oi. Oi, oi, oi. Interesting trick you can do with this one too is you can set the first vowel and the second vowel to be exactly the same. So let's say we chose E. So we're basically cycling between two E sounds. In other words, it's using the Humanizer, but it's not changing at all. And you can use that to give a completely different character to whatever distortion or whatever sound you're using at the time. It's almost like having a whole layer of just noise changer. And then you could go down to a really deep one, like we could make it, we're saying an O to another O. So the Humanizer might sound like a gimmick, but it actually, if it's used cleverly, it can really be a really interesting creative tool that can give you a whole new sound that you might not have thought you could get out of your particular guitar. Add some more bass on top of that. It's bubbling away there. Nice. Let's add a bit more delay here. Just as we can. Escape from that. So there you have it, guys. I've just scratched the surface there. There's a whole lot you can do with the ME8B. I think it's one of the classics. It is up there in my top 5 best effects units of all time, which is a video I'm in the progress of making. And that'll be coming up soon. Bass players, 6-string players, baritone guitar players, any of you, if you find one of these, they are exceedingly rare, but if you find one, definitely grab it. Don't worry too much about the price because you are going to be pleased, okay? There is so much you can do with this one. So I've gone from playing bass to that. Okay. Boss ME8B. Thanks for watching.